In this video, we're going to look at plurality election systems. At election time, there needs to be a mechanism to translate voter preferences into a government, and we call that the electoral formula. The electoral formula is a mathematical calculation that does that, tries to translate voter preferences into some kind of government. And there are two main ways of doing that. One is by using a plurality type system, such as single member plurality or first past the post. And another way would be to use a proportional system, such as proportional representation. In this video, we're going to look at how a plurality system might work. Let's use a single member plurality system as an example, sometimes called first past the post. We've got our population, and several different political parties are going to compete for power. They're competing for 7 different seats. They can win control of this hypothetical legislature, 7 seats. So 4 would be enough to control the government. Now, voters don't just vote for their favorite political party, because in a single member plurality system, the region is divided up into geographic units. And each of those units will have a seat that is contested by all parties. So all the parties will compete to win each of these electoral districts. We take the national jurisdiction or provincial jurisdiction, whatever it happens to be, and divide it up into individual geographic districts. And from each of those, one of the candidates, from one of the parties, will be declared the winner. That's how we translate the public preferences into a government in a plurality system. So here's what that might look like. On election day, we have our votes in each of the 7 ridings. If we take all of those votes and add them up across the country, we might get some kind of breakdown like this. We call this the popular vote, when you take all the votes in total. So the blue party does very well. They've got about 40% of the vote across our small country here. The orange party has 25% of the vote, green and red hovering around 15% each. And then there's a purple party there that's just hovering around, not really enough to make a difference. We don't care about the popular vote, though. We don't care how these parties fared overall. In a plurality system, in a first past the post system, we care about what happens in each individual electoral district. Those are where the competition is happening. So we want to see the results for each geographic locale, for each electoral district. And in many of these, at least a few of them here, it looks like the blue party is doing better. So in all of those where the blue party's hovering around, it looks like 40% of the vote, they win those seats. So in those 5 seats, the blue party would be victorious. Now, what about the other seats? Well, in one of those seats, the red party looks like they've done pretty well. They've got around 40% or so of the vote. So the red party would win that seat. And in the final electoral district, the green party happened to have a lot of supporters concentrated there, and the green party wins that seat. So even though we've got a national popular vote that is spread between the different parties in that proportion, that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the results at the electoral district level. So when we step back, we assign the seats in the legislature, we realize that the blue party forms a majority government. They have a majority of seats in the legislature. Out of 7 seats, they have 5. The remaining 2 seats, the opposition seats, would be filled by the red party and the green party. The orange party, despite coming in second and getting 25% of the vote, gets no seats. Why? Well, just because when you're in a plurality system like this, if you've got support that's spread out around all the ridings at around that 25% level, that's really not enough to win. The red party and the green party happen to have a lot of geographic support clustered in one area, which allowed them to win a seat. The blue party did a better job of having a decent amount of support across more ridings. So just to recap, a plurality system such as single member plurality, often called first past the post. Under that system, parties compete geographically. They compete in individual electoral districts, and we look to see which candidate wins in each of those. The national popular vote does not matter. These systems are preferred because of their simplicity. It's pretty easy to choose your local representative. You just select one of the names on the list. And it's also preferred because it tends to produce stable majority governments.